Picture a university campus in Seattle. A man walks across the lawn wearing a rubber mask, a crude caveman face, and the crows go berserk. They dive, they follow, they scold him from the branches. Here's the strange part: most of those birds had never been harmed by that mask. They had never been caught, they had never been handled, yet somehow they knew the face. And they had known it for years. This is the story of what happens when a wild animal decides to remember you, and of the experiments that suggest a bird brain can do far more than we assumed. The experiment began at the University of Washington in the group led by John Marsloff. The plan was simple and slightly absurd. To trap and ban wild American crows, the researchers wore masks. One face played the villain. It was a caveman mask, worn during the netting and banding of the birds. A second face played the harmless bystander, a rubber likeness of Dick Cheney. That mask walked the same ground and did nothing threatening at all. The point was to separate the person from the act. The crows never saw a human face. They saw a mask doing something specific. In 2010, the results appeared in the journal Animal Behavior under a title that reads almost like an accusation: lasting recognition of threatening people by wild American crows. The crows scolded the caveman. They largely left Dick Cheney alone, which is remarkable enough. But the researchers had not yet noticed the part that would make the study famous. The trapped birds were only a small fraction of the crows on that campus. And yet crows that had never been captured began to scold the caveman mask too. They had not experienced anything. They had apparently watched or listened. Other crows reacted and the information traveled. That is an unsettling thought. A piece of hostile knowledge moving through a wild population, bird to bird, without a single shared experience behind it. Then came the follow-up work. Researchers kept walking the campus in the masks year after year. The reaction to the caveman face was still there. Across roughly 5 years it persisted, and it did not fade with time, it grew. More birds scolding, not fewer. Think about what that requires. A specific face, held in memory for years, in an animal that was never taught it directly. So what else can a crow's mind do? The answer, it turns out, involved a piece of wire. In 2002, a report appeared in Science from three researchers: Alex Weir, Jackie Chappell, and Alex Kaselnik. Their subject was a captive New Caledonian crow they called Betty. Betty was given a problem. A small bucket of food sat at the bottom of a vertical tube. Her beak could not reach it. What she had was a length of straight wire. Straight wire is useless here. So Betty bent it. She worked the wire into a hook, lowered it into the tube, caught the bucket's handle, and lifted her meal out. And she did it again, not once, by luck, repeatedly. This was a bird taking a raw material and reshaping it into a tool suited to a task in front of her. For years, that kind of behavior was treated as the preserve of apes and humans. But Betty was not improvising in a vacuum. Her wild relatives had been in the tool business for a very long time. New Caledonia is a Pacific island, and its crows are craftspeople. In the wild, they manufacture two distinct kinds of hook tools. The first comes from pandanus leaves, whose edges carry rows of barbs. The crows snip and tear those edges into strips, tapered, stepped, shaped to a pattern. The second is made from twigs. A crow selects a forked twig and whittles it down into a small hook. Then it goes hunting. It probes into holes in wood, working the hook against beetle grubs and other prey, and winkles them out. Two different designs, two different raw materials, made by a wild bird in a wild forest with no one teaching it in a laboratory. Making a tool for the job in front of you is one thing. But what about a job that does not exist yet, one that will not arrive until tomorrow? That question was tested at Lund University by Can Kabadai and Matthias Osvath in a 2017 paper in Science. Their subjects were ravens. The birds first learned to use a particular tool on a puzzle box, then the box vanished. Later, the ravens were offered a choice of objects. They picked out the useful tool, and they held on to it. The puzzle box did not come back for hours, in some cases, as much as 17 hours later. The tool was still there, selected and kept, for a problem that had not yet reappeared. Memory of a different kind runs through the crow family too. Consider Clark's nutcracker. Each autumn it buries pine seeds, often 20 to 30,000 of them, or more, spread across thousands of separate hiding places. Months later it comes back. As much as 9 months later, it finds them again, remembering where they sit in space even under snow. All of this from a brain that fits inside a bird's skull, which raises the obvious question: how? In 2016, a study in the journal PNAS took a careful census of bird brains. Its first author was Søren Olkowicz of Charles University in Prague. The finding reframed the whole debate. Parrot and songbird brains hold, on average, about twice as many neurons as primate brains of the same weight. Compared with rodent brains of equal weight, the figure is 2 to 4 times as many, and those neurons are not spread evenly. An unusually large share sits in the pallium, the forebrain region that handles higher-level thinking. Then in 2020, another science paper pushed further. Andreas Nieder's group at the University of Tübingen recorded from individual nerve cells in carrion crows. The cells sat in a higher order forebrain region called the nidipallium caudolaterale. The birds were shown faint visual stimuli and asked to signal whether they had seen anything. Those neurons did not simply track the stimulus, they tracked what the bird reported, seen or not seen. That distinction was read as something startling, a neural signature of conscious sensory experience in a bird. So return to that Seattle lawn and the man in the caveman mask. What was scolding him was not a reflex. It was a memory of a specific face tied to a specific event carried for years, shared with birds who were never there, held in a brain that packs its neurons more densely than a primate's and concentrates them where the harder thinking happens. In that light, the grudge stops looking like a curiosity. It starts looking like the visible edge of something much larger, bending wire into hooks, whittling twigs into barbed probes, saving a tool for a task 17 hours away, recovering 30,000 seeds beneath the snow. We spent a long time asking whether animals could think like us. The crows never seemed to find that a difficult question. If you'd like more stories like this one, carefully sourced and told slowly, consider subscribing. There is a great deal more of the natural world to walk through.